Okay, Halacha Yomi, page 153, Halacha 12. The Torah states, the kachtem lachem anaf etz avot, twigs of a plaited tree. So the Gemara explains it's referring to the myrtle branch, known as the Hadas, which the leaves that lie on each other like an interlocking chain. Right? One of the Hadas characteristics is that the leaves cover its twig, covers the branch, meaning it has 3 or more leaves growing near each other in a circle, so that one leaf is not lower than the other. According to Shulchan Aruch, the Hadassim must be Meshulashim. What does Meshulashim mean? Has to contain 3 exactly aligned leaves per level. A Hadas with only 2 leaves at each level is not kosher. The Chazon Ish holds that Hadas is considered tripled, Meshulash, as long as the base of the 3 leaves meet at a line. Even though there's slight differences in height between them, as long as their base is more or less at the same point, so then it's considered Meshulash. 14. Ideally, the entire Hadas should be triple-leaved across the 3 hand breadths of its length, 3 tvachim. However, if only if majority of the Hadas is triple-leaved, then it is kasher and one may recite a bracha on it. So majority, ideally the whole thing, but majority is good too. An ideal Hadas has the leaves of each level overlapping the leaves of the next level. However, if the leaves do not lie one on the other, it's nevertheless kasher. Ideally, the leaves should be no longer than the width of a thumbnail. However, if the Hadas is long, it's still valid as long as the leaves are not longer than the width of 2 thumbnails. It is advisable not to use a Hadas if any of part of its tip is cut off. However, if no Hadas is available, it may be used, and a bracha may be recited. This is an important halacha. Hadas whose leaves dried out is invalid. A Hadas is considered dry when most of its leaves have whitened in color. However, if at the top of each Hadas branch there's a set of leaves that are still moist, the Hadas is kosher even though most of the leaves are dry. But if all the leaves, right, are dried out, so that's a problem. Hadas doesn't have to be straight, it's valid even if it's crooked. Okay? They sell also special Rashi Hadassim. These Rashi Hadassim, they're tripled at every level for sure. It looks like has a tremendous amount of leaves. It's very very tripled, and therefore it's ideal to fulfill Rashi's opinion. It's ideal to buy those. Those are a little bit more expensive, but at least it has to be majority tripled. Right. 20. Aravot. The criteria for identifying the correct species of aravot are follows. The leaves are narrow and long. The stems are red. The tip of each leaf is smooth, not serrated. Right? Aravot leaves, they don't have edges, sharp edges. They have smooth leaves. The above criteria are not requirements, but these are usually indicators that the aravot are kosher. If the stem is not red, the aravot is still kosher, as long as it would have turned red if it would have left the mature on the tree. What is aravot? Aravot are willow branches, right? Even though the Torah describes the aravot as branches that grow along the water, it's not a requirement. You don't have to have aravot that grow by the water. Rather, it meant that usually what they grow, where they grow, is by the water, but it doesn't have to be by the water. If most of the leaves of the upper hand breadths of an aravah fell off, the aravah is disqualified. If only some of the leaves fell off, aravah is kosher. When most of the leaves in aravah are dried, it's disqualified. A leaf is considered withered when it turns white. So, number one thing that dies from the arba minim is aravot. The aravot, you have to change them preferably during Chol HaMoed, because when most of the leaves are dry, then it's pasul. Okay. There's a leaf that grows from the tip of the aravah stem, known as the lavluv. This leaf grows on all aravot, and this shows the stem has not been cut. Therefore, if one does not know how to examine the top of the aravah to whether it was cut or not, you should preferably use the aravot with the lavluv. Okay, next time we're going to talk about the etrog.